So good morning, January the 17th, 2017. This is CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Today is day number 3 into week number 2 of the semester. So let's get started. First of all, good morning and welcome back to this class, the second week of the semester. If you can look at the Moodle environment, we do have the informations for you for week number 2. Okay? So week number 2 starts from January the 16th to January the 21st. And today is Tuesday, so it's January the 17th. Alright? So we're going to spend this week together before we come into the Chinese New Year celebration. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So if we look at the context for this week, we get into common module number 1, and in this module we're going to help you understand what is meant by information technology and knowledge society. Okay? So, are you ready? So before we get to week number 2, let's get back to week number 1 a little bit. So in week number 1, we have walked you through a little bit of the course context, including inviting you in day number 1 to go home to walk through some of those links, okay? And there are many things for you to pay attention to, and as you can see that the course home is a website which is going to be a very important complement to this your Moodle site. So the calendar reminds you of your 3 important assignments that you are going to complete it and submit the artifacts for the 3 separate assignments by the due dates, okay? And we call each assignment a learning contract. And remember, I do not tell you to submit anything one day before the submissions. When you walk into this link, the link tells you at what particular date you need to submit that particular things. So you have to be aware of the calendar. And then the syllabus is exactly the PDF document that I introduced to you on day number 1 by clicking on this particular link. We have a syllabus link here, right? So the same material will be popping up if you click on the syllabus. Now, I have to tell you a little bit about the readings, okay? The readings is very important. So this is for the reading links. In any specific course, the instructor must get ready some information to enrich your study outside of the classroom. And so the readings for each week and the videos suggested for each week, you can get access to them by clicking on the readings link. The readings link is directly available under date number 1 under the readings link, okay? So we have all together 14 weeks together. So you have 14 weeks reading, okay? It does not mean you have to finish them all, but these are support reading in order to help you understand the topics we're inquiring in that particular week. And if you want to know exactly what topics are we interested in throughout the semester, from week number 1 to week number 14, this is a summary of the topics, okay? So week number 1, we gone through the introductions. We helped you to think about what is meant by information security and what is meant by information privacy. But what exactly is meant by that? So you have to come to the readings name. When you click on the readings name, I provide you with a number of important resources to help you find the answer, possible answer, not one unique answer to this particular question, to this particular question. And according to the advice I gave you by the end of last week, I remind you that some of you asked me questions already. What do we need to do after the class? So my response is you need to go back to read the advice provided by me on the very first week. For example, this is the very first week. There is something called before class, during class, after class, and end of the week. So if you click on before class, I got a set of advice for you, okay? So I say, read some of those names, read some of those important metadata, and complete something called, by the end of the first week of the class questionnaire. Now, if you have not done this, it's okay. I'm going to give you 5 minutes time to 10 minutes time today to finish up with this questionnaire. So that is what you need to do before you come to class for week number 1. So if you want to know what we are supposed to do during the class of week number 1, okay, you can click on this link. It tells you that we're going to introduce to you something on the syllabus. We're going to introduce to you the course support website, and we would like you to pay attention to some of those videos, okay? But this will not be completed during the class hours, okay? So this will not be completed during the class hour. So it has to be done by you, okay, individually, after the class hour, okay, to enrich your study on this topic. And we discussed this particular video, okay, on day number 1, week number 1. So that tells you a little bit about what we're going to do during class. And of course, at the end of each class, or each week's class, you have the ACA, the after class activity. Here I invite you to go to the reading list for week number 1 and explore a little bit on your own about these 2 questions by picking any of those important internet resources. Okay, now that means you could find something different from your fellow members in class if you explore a different resource from your neighbor sitting next to you. Okay, it's a kind of things that in one class, we do not have one single set of material to instill upon you, but we have provided many choices for each one of you, good enough for each one of you to select on your own. Okay, so that is very important. And then I've also asked you to review some of the videos in week number 1. And some of the videos in week number 1 comes very handy and looks very much like a reading list. When you click on the links, this is called course video for the first day, for the second day, so this could help you to bring up to speed some of the background information I'd like you to be aware of. And then this is a very important term, journaling. Journaling is another term for note-taking. Okay, you need to learn how to take notes. Okay, take notes. It's an important basic academic skill for each student. That means you try to keep track of what the instructor said during class, or you try to keep track of what interests you during class, and so you can continue the process of learning on a daily basis, all right? But I also provide you with an important tool that is called the Personal Online Learning Journals 001 for week number 1. And for this week, you have another Personal Online Learning Journal 002 for week number 2. So I do not mind giving you those journals so you can keep track of what you learn on a weekly basis, all right? So continue to write your notes there. But there are some expectations, and I would like you to learn to take notes. Now, there are many ways to do note-taking. Speed writing is one, but I do not mean speed writing is important to you at this point. Rather, I introduced to you the O step towards the end of last class called an observation step. And actually, the O step is only one of the 3 important steps. The second step is the I step. The I step means interpretations. What is meant by interpretations? It means questioning into something. You start asking questions. And finally is the A step. The A step means applications. That means after you have observed something and after you have asked questions or raised questions about something, you should be able to extract some lessons learned from what you study. So the journaling methods here represents the complete picture of the OIA practice. The OIA practice is a basic step that helps you think critically. Thinking critically is very important in this class, okay? So that is the ACA step. So towards the end of each week, you need to take a look at the EOWA step. The EOWA step means the end of the week activity. Now, normally, we will not be able to remember what we studied throughout the week because we have many different courses, many different events happening, except that when we spend time thinking about it, and when we spend time thinking about what we experienced throughout the week, we say we are doing the exercise of refracting. Re means coming back, fracting, think about it. So refract on something is an important activity in this class. You need to cultivate this habit of refracting on what you're learning on a weekly basis. That's why I make you understand end of the week activity, invite you to spend some time, not more than 1 hour typically, to reflect on what you should have learned over the week, particularly on the questions of interest, which is directly from the reading list. Now, the reading list is very important. You know that we do have what we call suggested textbook in this course, but we don't need to use it normally. First, it's very expensive. Second, almost everything from the textbook has already been extracted and put it on this website. And the most important thing is you need to learn how to follow the advice given by the instructor on a weekly basis. We call this before, during, after, and end of the week activity. Now, if you have read the latest issue of UM magazines, you know that the University of Macau is promoting the kind of learning mode called blended learning. Blended means we combine two things together. One is the face-to-face in-class interactions with the students, between the students and the instructor, and the other one is the online 24/7 interactions between the student and the support learning environment. In this case, it's the Moodle learning management system each one of you should pick up. And on top of this, I've also given you a very well-supported web environment, which is more than the Moodle environment. So I hope with this much introductions, you know that what you need to do before you come to class, what you have to do after you finish the week's classes, and what you intend to be involved during class. Okay, having said that, I hope you got well set for this. And another thing I would like to bring to your attention in week number 1 is the public online discussion forum. Let's take a look at the wonderful involvement on almost each one of you by giving me and also the whole class with personal response on sharing some lessons learned on day number 1 and also on day number 2. Okay, so you can see that I'm so glad that you're willing to spend time here. Look at the 28 responses that I received on this discussion thread. Okay, after I introduced to you the OIA, actually we invite you to practice on the O step last Friday. And so you can see that these are the responses of your fellow students. You do not need to write long responses, but just enough. So you're free to come back to this website, read some of the responses of your fellow students. This is how you can learn together. Better say we can learn together as a community of students, of learners. So another thing I would like to put to your attention is this important message. Okay, you can see that almost every week I'm going to send something called call for students sign up for that week's in-class sharing. We have 2 contact periods per week, and for this week it's day number 3 and day number 4. Now, if you feel ready that you have done your study after last week's lessons, you want to stand up here, pick up the microphone and tell the whole class what you learned over last week. I will give you 5 minutes time to do that, okay? And so you have the microphone, you have your time to share, and most importantly, every time you do that, I will give you 4 semester points. but the maximum number of time you can do it is not more than 6 throughout the semester, okay? Because towards the end of the semester, I'm going to give you a score, which is called the in-class participation score. Now, in this in-class participation score, which is going to occupy 20 semester points out of 100 semester points that you need for the whole semester. That means 1/5 of the score you can earn for the whole semester's 20 semester point is by doing at least 5 times in-class sharings. What are you supposed to do is, okay, you sign up here that I would like to take up 5 minutes on day number 4 to share what I learned in week number 1. Then I will give you the time slot, not more than 5 minutes individually, and you can pick up the microphone with your PowerPoint prepared, tell the whole class what you've learned. With that, I will give you 4 semester points. Okay? With 5 times of such sharing, you are set to secure 20 semester points out of the final 100 semester points. How many of you have read through the syllabus and understand that this is an important part of your assessment? Okay? If not, you need to be aware of that. So when you see this link here, click on this link, and to sign up is very simple. For each class, I'm going to provide up to 6 5-minute slots. That means I'm going to provide 30 minutes at most for the 6 students who sign up. Now, if it happens that more than 6 students sign up for that week, we will do first come, first serve. Okay? So for each week, we have 2 classes, and for each class, we could accommodate at most 6 students to do this 5 minutes sharing of what they learned over the past week. The way to sign up is very simple. You just need to click on the reply link, and then you just say, I want to share on day number, for example, this week, 3 or 4. Okay? So then I'm going to give you the chance on day number 4 or 3, 5 minutes to share. Now, don't miss out this important opportunity to earn your score along the way of the semester. Okay? You just need to do some reading. You just need to prepare a simple PowerPoint, not more than 5 slides normally, because you don't have more than 5 minutes. And then you have 5 minutes time to share with the whole class what you have learned. All right? So this is a very good deal. Learn to get involved is another examples of active learning in the class. You learn what is meant by active learning last Friday. Okay? So let's get back to our class today. I've given you enough of the message. Okay? So let's carry on. Well, you can see that we're going to help you to recap a little bit about information security based on this particular episode. Now, many of you have already shared in the public online discussion forum some of your observations here. I would say that this is a very good starting point for you to gather material to prepare for your in-class sharings individually. So do not miss out the good resources your fellow students have already given you. So today, we would like to get involved with information technologies and knowledge society. But just before that, allow me to point out one important key information in these 2 weeks, okay? First of all, if you go back to week number 1, you see that immediately after the topics, there is something called theme, okay? And the theme is inquiry-based learning, IBL, and the learning contract number 1 is actually one of the 3 important assignments you're going to get involved in this semester. So, in other words, for the first assignment, you are going to complete and you're going to submit the material by the end of, well, I guess, look at the calendar, by the end of week number 4, which is February the 18th, okay? By February the 18th and also February the 19th, you have 2 days time to submit your work. You're going to get involved with a method of learning called IBL, Inquiry-Based Learning. So we need to go back a little bit. We need to go back a little bit before we revisit the topic of information technologies and knowledge society. You need to be well informed of what exactly is IBL, okay? So that's the reasons why I need to invite you, okay, to take a look at what exactly is IBL today, okay? Of course, it has something to do with the 21st century learning, and we're going to provide this to you in a minute. So, IBL.
So, Jamie, can you give us a definition of IBL?
Well, I think it's quite difficult to define IBL. I think it means a lot of different things to different people, depending on whether you're a member of staff or a student or what kind of discipline or subject you're doing. But I think in kind of general terms, it's about putting questions and ideas at the centre of learning. So student investigations and getting students to do research instead of kind of finding out the answers for themselves, instead of directing them and telling the answer and expecting them to remember it. I think people learn and remember things and are able to reuse them much more effectively if they've found them out for themselves than if they've just been told it and expected to remember it.
Hi Laura, can you give us a definition of IBL please? For me, inquiry-based learning, there isn't one answer. So I would have to say that it's a real variety of things. It can be working alone, independently, going away and researching something for yourself, and really making the topic your own, making the information your own, and then creating your own knowledge base. Or it can equally be network learning. So a combination of working with different people within staff, but also with other sort of peers, other students. And again, sort of researching through sort of discussion and then evaluating that information that you've got and then turning that again into a new knowledge base through your inquiry.
Here we go. That is our discussion topic for the first topic today. And you have different tables, okay? So what we would like you to do in the next 5 minutes is to consider IBL as many things, but what do you think? Okay? So now we have 3 persons there. I would like you to join the 3 persons there. Okay, so we have 5 persons there. I would like you to join the 3 persons there, so we have 5 persons per table. Can you go to that table? And then you join the 2 ladies there. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tables, okay? So we're going to engage you in a 5 minutes discussions, okay, on your table, on your impressions of IBL. Now, I've just given you enough material to start with. You heard 2 important interpretations. One is from a student, the other is from an SAO coordinator, and they've also given you the perspective of the personal understanding of IBL. Now, I want you to engage yourself in your table to discover what IBL is all about based on collecting the perspective of your table member. You have 5 minutes time to do it, okay? So towards the end of this 5 minutes, I'm going to walk to each table to hear what you have learned about this, okay? So basically, this is the topic, all right? This is the topic. 5 minutes on your own, make some joyful noises. You can introduce yourself in your table, and you ask for the feedback of your fellow table member. What do they think about IBL? If it could be considered many things. We're giving you 2 definitions already based on the interval. Just go ahead. In 5 minutes time, I'm going to stop you at 10:38. All right? You can make some joyful noises now. Help yourself, okay? We need to do discussions to help you to understand what. All right? Hello?
That's true.
And of course, if you need devices, now we watch the video, feel free to do it. Bring it to your table, watch it together, and listen to what they say again. There is no prohibitions, no rules that said you cannot do something like this. You can always re-watch the video going back to the website and give us some more information. Okay? So, you want to do it? It's okay? Okay, you can keep track of your discussions. I've just given you 1 minute and 43 seconds information. You need to learn to make the best use of this important video information. Yes, that's very important. You get yourself involved in discussions. All right? Remember, the question is, what do you think? Okay? Your idea, very important. Your ideas are very important. And your table's ideas, very important. What exactly is IBL? You need to come up with something of your own. Well, that may be something that belongs to your table, okay? You need to understand the reasons behind we introduce this important method. And so you can have something of your own interpretations. I've given you enough of observations, now it's your interpretations. What do you think? Okay? The way you can do this kind of table-based discussions is to gather information from your table members as much as you can. Alright? So, and then you have enough to share with the whole class. Exciting. Time is ticking now. You have less than 2 minutes. We want to make sure you learn how to make the best use of class time. Small amount of time, like 3 to 5 minutes, will be good enough to produce some sensible discussions topics. Yeah. Just getting warm up, it's very good. Perhaps it's closer to Chinese New Year's. I got 50 students in this class, but today I have only half the size of the class coming back. Okay? We have 25 students now. You need to have some basic understanding on the keyword inquiry. What is meant by inquiry? Okay? And you've got to have some stand on the context of learning. What is meant by learning? Okay? So it could be many things. And when you share your table story of inquiry-based learning, you need to tell what do you think? Alright?
I think this is a traditional way that.
So we're down to the last 1 minute.
I think it's
Something,
that
right?
study before
So this is what I believe is important. No, we need to include this
study
also.
by this,
Alright?
asking
You need to catch something.
rather
Many things for you to catch.
teacher have something
During
to know
class.
what he wanted to. I think the most difference is the teacher don't know what to do, so they use this method.
we go. So we got to another microphone. Hello?
No, I think that I talk about traditional is not.
It's very simple.
It's
When I
before
walk
the
into
teaching
your
system
table
was-
and give you the
You have
microphone,
teacher
in your table, you
before
need
that.
to identify a reporter, the person who's responsible for sharing for your table.
Before teacher
And
become
then all the rest member of the table support this person with all the ideas on the share. Okay? So you have working together, collaborations. Okay? Alright, time's up. Let's move to this table. So, what do you think? I need at least one person to pick up the microphone to share with the whole class. What do you think? Yes, great. Introduce yourself, please.
Yes.
Yes.
I think this is the traditional way that teacher
Okay.
system was before the teacher system was formed. Before the teacher become a career, the people learn something in this way. Yes, that's all.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit more about the traditional way? How do you define the traditional way?
Before teacher become a career, people ask their friend or they want to know something, so they have question. If
Okay.
he have some friend might know something about it, he will ask him or do research with him.
Okay.
I think that's
Okay, thank you,
traditional way
Clears.
that people get
First of all, any more additions on Jerry? Thank you, Jerry.
I think inquiry-based learning is also considered as a way of active learning because it requires the students to research or enrich their knowledge by off-class reading or searching the internet. And also, I think inquiry-based learning should be used only on universities or higher education because, like I said, in secondary school or primary school, the students will not have the logic or discipline to do inquiry-based learning. But at the same time, I think primary school and secondary school also encourage inquiry-based learning because it will make university class courses more focused on inquiry-based learning also. So I think it's in contrast of each other, but also it will be great for the further education for the students.
Okay, that's very good. You have given us a lot of the enrichment based on Clear's ideas. And now that you heard what this table has said, what do you think? Anyone would like to pick up the microphone to respond? Inquiry-based learning, what do you think? Yes. Pick it up. Yes. Judah, thank you.
And I think the idea is about triggering students' curiosity by
Okay.
presenting them with situations
Yes.
and asking them questions so that they will find their interest in learning.
Well, that's very good. You put the emphasis on how do you stimulate students' interest so that they will have the momentum to pursue their own interest for more explorations. What do you think? Do you have any other things to add? Yes, feel free to do it. Not at this point? Okay, that's good. So let's move on to this side. We have 3 tables on this side. Let's start with this table. What do you think? You heard the sharings from your fellow students on the 2 tables there. So what do you think?
We think IBL can train students to think by themselves. The teacher or maybe the leader can just pose a question to the students, and the students can discuss the questions by themselves, and then also they can search data from the internet and have more discussions about new information, so that they can learn more and have more interest to learn. And this also a very good way to train the students to have critical thinking.
Okay, thank you. What's your name?
Samko.
Samko, thank you. Now you heard Samko said something very interesting. So do you have anything to add?
No.
Do you have anything to add? No? Are you sure? Okay, that means you support Samko's positions, all right? So Samko, you naturally become a leader in this table. So may I invite you to conform some of your sharing? Thank you. Hello.
I don't think IBL is a good way to study. I think it's less efficient way.
Okay.
So I think if I had used IBL learning in my high school, I couldn't have had opportunities to come in UM. So for IBL learning, I think if you have enough knowledge, then you can use IBL. But it's not a good way to get knowledge directly. I think getting knowledge directly is a very good way to study.
Okay, could we know your name?
Shadow.
Shadow. Now, do you hear Shadow's positions? It's very interesting. Now, Shadows believe that IBL is not a very efficient way to obtain knowledge. Okay, so it's not going to be very efficient. Okay, so what do you think? Okay, of course, the other members of your table, what do you think? Do you support? Okay, you agree with him. Can you tell us a little bit more about the efficiencies of learning? Shadow at his points. One important argument he presented in his sharing minutes ago is if he used IBL during his high school day to prepare for the university admission, he believed that he could not get into university just by doing IBL because it's not an efficient way to get knowledge. Okay? So now, let's hear the rest of your table member. What do you think? Do you agree with...
I agree with him because in mainland China, we have writing exam in high school.
Okay.
So if we use the IBL, we can't get a high grade in my exam.
Okay.
So
in order to get high grade...
So we cannot get into the UM.
Okay.
But I don't know in Macau or Hong Kong, people, students can use the IBL to get more skill or ability to show their thinking or that's all.
May we know your name?
My English name?
Yes.
You can call me Tiger.
Tiger, okay. Now, do you understand the positions presented by Tiger in this extended discussion? I believe the culture in which we grow up has a direct impact on the way we look at learning, okay? So, can we understand a little bit more from the remaining members of your table? What do you think of learning? How do you define learning? Yes.
I think learning is a way to get knowledge and from knowing nothing and to know everything. It's a way. It's a method.
Okay, so from Shadow's point of view, learning is a method to go from nothing to learning to knowing everything. Okay, so that is an interesting point. Now, the ladies, do you have any comments to add on that? Okay, so now let's do it this way. It's very good because I want to make sure that you try to express yourself. Every expression by itself, it's a valid statement of your personal thinking. So let's keep that. Now, could you pass the microphone to the last table? Hey, hello. Now, I want to see someone, maybe Jose. you pick up the microphone to tell us a little bit about your personal thinking? Yes. What do you think?
From what I learned, inquiry-based learning is thinking to make meaning.
Okay.
It also uses constructive theory,
Okay.
which you could learn the skills to synthesize, interpret, and evaluate.
Okay.
It is also effective
Okay.
because first you need to learn from your teacher.
Okay.
And at the same time, you should learn from your fellow students as well.
Okay.
And that's it.
Very good. Now, can you pick up a little bit from what Jose had said? Now, could the remaining members of the table have a chance to say a little bit more? Anyone who would like to say a little bit more? Because by hearing a table member to say something, I very much hope that this is very much supported by the remaining member of the table. Okay. Now, if you have a little bit discussions which talks about the objections, it's time for you to express a little bit more to add into the discussions. Okay. So now let's get back a little bit to our theme-based discussions. We got a lot of very interesting things to continue now. First of all, when we talk about inquiry-based learning, what exactly are we talking about? Okay. Someone said it's a method. It's a method to help you learn something. Okay? And then what is meant by learning? Learning means getting from knowing nothing to knowing, I cannot say everything, something, all right? So it's a little bit different from the traditional approach of learning. The traditional approach of learning make it efficient. That's already shared by Shadow, and that it's help me to remember the name. Time, yes, time. That's very important. Everybody knows. Do you know why we have the classroom first? The reasons why we have classroom is because classroom represent one of the most efficient way to help people to acquire knowledge by doing a dissemination model. A dissemination from one point, a teacher, to everybody in the classroom. Okay? This is a dissemination model. Assuming, in the very past of the Chinese tradition, the sage at the center stage, transmitting knowledge to everyone. So those who are sitting to learn something, assume they have something blank here to get everything transmitted into this particular brain. Okay? So when the transmission is over, you, as the person who received the knowledge, assumes that you know something. So it's very efficient. No one argue about it. Yeah. That's the reason we still keep the classroom model. The only arguments that we are going to present to justify the continuation of such model at the university or at a level above the university is why for so many years our students have been educated using such an efficient model of knowledge acquisitions. It turns out that 90% of the time they forgot the knowledge more than they remember it. At the end of a particular exam, very seldom we discover it, we remember what we learned, except for the purpose of regurgitating the knowledge we received. The reason is we do not know a lot of time how to put into context what we have learned and how to put into the context of retaining what we've learned when we need it. Okay, for examinations-oriented educations, we discover that we waste a lot of unused time because of the systems. One thing that is quite interesting in Macau that is quite different from Hong Kong, Singapore, Taiwan, even mainland China, is we're still enjoying the privilege that we do not have one single, what we call the examination to sort people out from high school and put them into the university. Now we're getting into a closer system starting this year because we have an entrance exam which you are going to sit for that entrance exam. You are going to be considered by a number of 4 high educational institutions in Macau. In the past, in Macau, if you want to get into the University of Macau, you need to write the entrance exam for the University of Macau. If you want to get into the Macau Polytechnic Institute, you need to go to write another entrance exam for the Macau Polytechnic Institute. If you want to go to admit for City University of Macau, you need to write another exam for that. So, as many exams as you want to get admitted into those universities. Now that is not efficient, and so the government said, why don't we just say, create one exam, then with that one exam, you could be considered admission in several higher education institutions. And that's going to be experimented starting in this summer. Now, other than that, in Macau, yes, since we do not have what we call a public examination system, many schools enjoy this freedom to nurture the students in such a way that we are very much amazed by the result of this education system. Tell you what, you may not know this, more students from Macau earn PhDs in specific areas like chemistry, physics, astrophysics, and whatever it is around the world, to the extent that we are so much amazed. In such a small area, we have so many scientists whose origins are from Macau. Because of what? Because of inquiry-based learning, the Chinese style in many of the Chinese high school in Macau. Particularly those high schools were the neighbor of patriotic high school. I do not know if you know that. Wow, when we count the number of, ever since the return of Macau to China, from 1999 to now, we have more than hundreds of such students who become famous scientists around the world. When we ask them the reasons how they become so enthusiastic about the education, they always recount back to the days when they were studying in high school, so much nurture into thinking about knowledge by their high school teacher. Look at that. That is amazing. Don't you see that? So when I say something like this, it's not something new already in Macau. In Macau, a lot of the high school, particular advocate by high school teacher, they're using this model actually for a long time. They're not doing just one-way transmission. They're stimulating many high school kids to think scientifically. Examples like this. In many high schools, they develop activities called paper plane fly high. They introduce the activity that teach the student to fold, create different paper planes. They invite the student to create their own model, and they use a simple act of creating a paper plane, flew it in the sky, and count how long this paper plane could stay there. And they learn many very excellent ideas of engineering designs without their own knowing, but they have the interest of doing it. And the robotics competitions in Macau, I do not know, many years ago, yes, most likely after 1999, the team of robotics introduced in Macau High School. It was picked up by different high school teachers. They introduced the robots to their class, but not in the sense of very mechanical programming. Introduced the idea of how they could move the robot by doing a simple, today we call it program, but in that spot, control panels. And they introduced to the kids how they could increase the number of movements of the robots, and then encourage them to try that out as a team. And when they know how to do it, invite them to compete with another high school so that they have their creativity released. This has nothing to do with writing and examinations for university, but it's all the richness in learning to stimulate the learner so that they will have the interest to go on their own. To learn what? Not sets of knowledge, but an interest to explore their personal interest. And that is, I think, the power of inquiry-based learning. So it's not about memorizing a lot of hard knowledge of facts. It's about unleashing an individual's potential to participate in learning something of interest to their own persons. And that is very interesting. So what do you think? Well, when we get back to the statistic and look at the way educations in Macau has been doing, I would say it's pretty successful. If you compare the number of scientists whose origins are from Macau and compare the story of those high caliber youngsters with PhD with positions in research institutions, you'd simply recall when we were doing high school, we got good teacher who inspires to think, to learn by doing something which is of interest to us. Now I think it's my definitions of inquiry-based learning. Okay, I'm not mechanically cramming knowledge. It's how you pick this up and develop your own interest. All right, so this is one important area that I could introduce to you. So if you want to know the benefits of inquiry-based learning and what is the proper definitions of it, go into this link, okay? And today, I think maybe this is good. 6 minutes. Yeah.
Curiosity is a fundamental human trait, and inquiry-based learning embraces this natural impulse to learn and think. There are many benefits to implementing IBL programs, and some of the most successful education systems, like Shanghai, Hong Kong, and Finland, regard IBL as an important component of their success. This video aims to briefly outline some of the major benefits directly attributed to inquiry-based learning. IBL is not just about asking questions, it is questioning into something. In other words, it is about digging deeper in an effort to uncover what you have not been able to see before. When you begin an inquiry, you are deliberately setting out to search for what you don't know. It is this process of trying to figure out an answer that contributes to the student's sense of excitement and energy, often referred to as engagement and motivation. IBL is not so much about seeking the right answer, but about developing inquiring minds. The research shows that when students construct their own knowledge and understand the relevance to their lives, their attitude and understanding improve. In an IBL classroom, students are not waiting for the teacher or someone else to provide an answer. Instead, they are asking their own questions, formulating hypotheses, designing investigations, interpreting, communicating, collaborating, asking new questions, and reflecting. These process skills are gradually developed with the support of the teacher who helps guide the learning process. Based on the student's prior knowledge, the teacher lays a foundation in which students can begin to take more responsibility for their own learning. Students quickly learn how to participate in the inquiry learning cycle and gradually move from structured to guided and eventually open inquiry. When students have the opportunity to cultivate their own skills and construct their own ideas and concepts, then they can develop an understanding of the world that is deep and real, and begin to enjoy, understand, predict, and generate new knowledge on their own. During this process, students develop a deeper understanding of the content and concepts due to the higher order thinking that is required. Learning through inquiry continually provides students with the opportunity to make first-hand decisions. They can decide which questions to raise at various points, which ones to follow in depth and why, what tools to use for various tasks, how to organize the data, how to present the data, and what conclusions to accept or reject. When a unit of inquiry has been well thought out, the very nature of the learning process challenges students to think at higher levels. The higher order thinking skills that students acquire during the inquiry process assist in developing independent problem solving and critical thinking skills. As students further develop their critical thinking skills, they become more adept at creatively applying knowledge that they have learned to other disciplines and situations. In an IBL classroom, students communicate in various ways, from interacting with their peers and teachers to writing a reflection or presenting their solutions. By engaging in the learning activities, students provide a window for teachers to closely observe each individual's level of learning. This enables the teacher to assess the student's knowledge regularly and ensure that they are on the right track. IBL also involves students working in pairs or groups. They communicate their thoughts and ideas, and through cooperative learning, they are able to develop a deeper understanding of the subject. The collaborative nature of the students' interactions also contributes to their social development and helps improve their interpersonal skills. The IBL process teaches students the skills to become lifelong learners and supports them in their quest for knowledge. Let's have a look at the many valuable learning outcomes of IBL.
In order to help you understand the meanings of the benefits of inquiry-based learning, maybe I could wrap up today's class with a simple scenario. This is a very traditional Chinese story, okay? We love to be served more than we serve. You understand the meaning of that? We love to be served more than we serve others. For example, I love to eat fish. I always would love that someone is going to prepare a dish of wonderfully steamed fish for me to eat. Because it's going to be tasty, I do not need to do anything to prepare the fish, I just need to enjoy the fish. And the other context is, oh, you love to eat fish, you love to eat steamed fish. Okay, you like this type of fish. So the master who said, go fish for yourself. First, fish the fish you love to eat. Then, now that you got the fish you love to eat, learn how to steam the fish. so that you will not lose the skill. Then, I know how to state the first word. I need the ingredient to state the first word. Look for the ingredient. And then lead to practicing. Master. I think I'm here to learn to eat the fish I like. But why do you make me to do all this kind of things? Because it's not efficient. I want to eat the fish. The master said, go eat your fish. Do you understand the meaning of that? We always would like to have a good teacher to help us to learn the knowledge we want, because we're lazy to discover the knowledge we need. So we say, we go to school to learn from a teacher. Last year, I heard a story, and I do not know if you hear it right. Two very successful PhD graduates from China, from Shanghai. They got the PhD in the United States, and they looked for a job. They got the job. They spent time doing the job for less than 1 year. They were fired by the company they hired. And then they looked for another job. They failed to look for another job. So eventually, the two very famous so-called scholars returned to Shanghai. And then the story broke. The mother of that very famous scholar came to take care of this PhD student who returned from US to China. And then, here is the comment reported by the news. A very famous PhD scholar said, Mother, I really do not know what I can do to earn a living, but to study efficiently. Do you see the meaning of that? I just learned how to study, but I do not know how to make a living with what I learned, because I do everything excellently, but I don't know how to put into practical use my knowledge. So even though he earned the highest degree to be respected, he still needs to be taken care of by his old and aging mother. Okay, I would like to end today's class with this simple story, and I hope you understand the message. Okay, so, all right, before I let you go and come back on Friday, allow me to take attendance for the day, and I hope you pick it up. Okay, today is the 17th. Chloe, are you here? Thank you. Anson, you're not here today. Tracy, thank you. Alfonso, thank you. Joy, are you here? Not here. Okay. Neon, no. Philip, thank you. Franco, thank you. Yeah. Clears, thank you. Juno, not here. Shadow, thank you. Jury, thank you. Carrie, not here yet. Okay. And Carol, thank you. Tracy, not here. Joey, not here today. Kenneth, thank you. Henry, not here today. Must be flying home. Steve, not here today. Samko, thank you. Vicky, not here today. Tina, thank you. So Marco, not here today. Maggie, thank you. Rena, Marco, Marco, yes, you're here. Thank you. Rina, not here today. Okay. And so the next page. Vincent, thank you. Jeff, thank you. Jennifer, not here. Okay. Neil, thank you. Shirley, thank you. Alex, okay. Whitler, so not here today. Son, thank you. King, you're not here today. Okay. So Henry, new, thank you. Don't need, thank you. Carrion, not here today. Okay. So Carol, another Carol, not here today. Janice, not here. Okay. Nicholas is not here today. You say right?
Yes.
Okay. Venus, not here. G, thank you. Jose, thank you. Nico, thank you. Sipan, thank you. Tiger. All right. So Jiyeon, not here. Okay. I'm glad you're here today. So see you one more time this Friday before we say Happy Chinese New Year. Okay? Hope you enjoy the class today. I'll just go back to read some of the before class, during class, after class, week number 2. Okay? Thank you very much. Alright, class dismissed. So that's it for today's CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy, day number 2, not 3, in week number 2. Alright?